Hi everyone. Welcome to English Story School. What happens when two of the most powerful and controversial figures on the planet form an unexpected alliance? In this five-part story, we'll uncover the highs, lows, and surprising twists of the friendship between Donald Trump and Elon Musk. From their first meeting to moments of conflict, shared visions for the future, and a lasting legacy they've built together. Each part will reveal a new layer of this dynamic relationship. Stay tuned as we dive into the unexpected meeting, the public friendship, the moments of conflict, the shared vision of the future, and the legacy of friendship. Ready to discover the untold story? Let's go. Part 1. The unexpected meeting. What happens when two of the most controversial and influential figures in the world meet? On one side, we have Donald Trump, the 45th President of the United States, a man whose name has become synonymous with bold, unfiltered opinions and larger-than-life rhetoric. On the other side, we have Elon Musk, the tech billionaire with a mind that stretches across galaxies, CEO of Tesla, SpaceX, and a slew of companies that aim to shape the future. These two personalities seem like worlds apart. One deeply embedded in politics and the other in technology, but what could possibly bring them together? They say opposites attract, but when great minds meet, they don't just create ideas, they create revolutions. It was 2016, a year that would change the course of American history. Donald Trump was in the middle of a campaign that shocked the political establishment. Amidst the chaos of the election, Elon Musk, already a billionaire genius who had revolutionized the car industry and was on the brink of conquering space, wasn't just thinking about electric cars or the next big tech breakthrough. No, Musk was focused on something far bigger, the future of humanity itself. What could a man like Musk, who had always been a progressive figure, a champion of clean energy and sustainable technologies, find in Donald Trump, a man whose views on climate change and environmental policies were often at odds with Musk's core values? To the public eye, the idea of them aligning seemed unfathomable. The speculation was rife. Would Musk criticize Trump for his controversial comments on climate change, or would he keep his distance from this unpredictable political force? But instead of criticism, something entirely unexpected happened. Musk didn't denounce Trump. Instead, he did something that left the world baffled. He joined Trump's advisory board. Yes, you heard that right. Elon Musk, the tech visionary known for building electric cars and pursuing missions to Mars, was now part of a team under the administration of a president whose views on climate change seemed diametrically opposed to Musk's work. So, why would Musk, a man whose fortune was built on clean energy and whose dreams were deeply rooted in fighting climate change, align himself with Trump? The answer wasn't about politics. It was about something far more profound: vision. Both men, despite their differences, shared a single unyielding drive: the relentless pursuit of progress. Musk, with his eye on Mars, had a vision to push humanity beyond the confines of Earth, to create sustainable solutions for energy and transportation, and to revolutionize industries across the globe. Trump, with his focus on revitalizing American industry and making the country a dominant force once more, had a vision of restoring America's glory and placing it at the forefront of global politics. The best way to predict the future is to create it. Abraham Lincoln. From the outside, it seemed like an odd pairing. But there was a magnetic force at play. Two powerful, ambitious minds coming together, each determined to change the world in their own way. Though their ideologies and methods seemed miles apart, they were both visionaries, driven by a common desire to reshape the future. And it was this shared sense of vision that brought them together, despite the chaos of the political and business landscape. At first, the relationship wasn't one of warm friendship. In fact, it was a tense, transactional alliance that many dismissed as just another example of political maneuvering. But the seeds of something deeper were planted during that time. What the public didn't see was how their interactions grew beyond mere politics or business. It was no longer just about deals or public appearances. It was about understanding the core drive that fueled each man's mission. They were no longer just two opposing figures. They were two pioneers, each carving out their own path to the future. In this unexpected meeting, the world began to see a different side to both Trump and Musk. Musk, ever the outsider, wasn't just aligning himself with Trump for political gain. Instead, he saw in Trump a force that could help him push his vision for America and the world. For Trump, Musk represented the future, innovation, technology, and the drive to achieve the impossible. Musk didn't just build electric cars. He dreamed of changing the very way humanity operates. And Trump? Well, Trump was a man who had always challenged the status quo, no matter the backlash. Perhaps, just perhaps, they could complement each other in their respective quests. And in that initial meeting, in that uncertain time, a bond was forged, not based on shared ideologies, but based on a shared passion for progress, for building something greater than themselves. It wasn't about agreeing on every policy or viewpoint. It was about recognizing the value of pushing boundaries and creating something that could leave a lasting impact on the world. Vision is the art of seeing what is invisible to others. Jonathan Swift. In the coming months, their relationship would evolve into something more complex, more nuanced. People speculated, questioned, and criticized, but behind the scenes, Trump and Musk were on the verge of something truly groundbreaking. Neither was willing to back down from their vision, and perhaps that's why they found common ground. They weren't just dreamers, they were doers, relentless in their pursuit of the future. It wasn't just about business or politics, it was about something much larger. This wasn't a story of typical political alliances. This was a story of two titans, each carving their own path, but for the first time, seeing the possibility of walking side by side to push forward toward the future they both believed in. With that unexpected meeting in 2016, the world witnessed the beginning of a partnership that would defy expectations, challenge norms, and perhaps, in the end, lead to something far greater than anyone could have imagined. Part 2. The public friendship. Now that the world knew they were both working together, the media couldn't get enough. Donald Trump, the outspoken businessman turned politician, and Elon Musk, the eccentric innovator with a mind that seemed to stretch beyond the limits of the possible. Their occasional public interactions began drawing attention, with the world watching with bated breath as these two monumental figures, each shaping the future in their own way, exchanged ideas and philosophies. The clash of two titans had become an ongoing spectacle, one that seemed impossible to ignore. But what the world didn't see was the dynamic behind the public persona. The media was obsessed with their every word, every handshake, and every gesture. They were quick to frame their relationship in black and white terms, often reduced to headlines that simplified their interactions into political chess moves or business maneuvers. However, what the cameras didn't capture was the genuine respect that was beginning to grow between them. This wasn't a relationship founded merely on business or politics. It was rooted in something deeper, an unspoken acknowledgement of each other's drive and ambition. For Trump, Musk was the ultimate symbol of the American dream. Here was a man who didn't just talk about changing the world, he was actively doing it. Musk wasn't interested in the status quo. He was a creator, a disruptor, and a visionary who had already transformed the electric car industry and was pushing humanity toward the stars. In Trump's eyes, Musk represented everything that was great about American ambition. The relentless pursuit of success, the refusal to back down in the face of challenges, and the audacity to aim for the impossible. And for Musk, Trump was a different kind of inspiration. Despite his polarizing views and unconventional methods, Musk recognized that Trump was, in his own right, a force of nature. As brash and unfiltered as Trump's words might have been, Musk could see that Trump had a unique ability to cut through the noise and take action. His boldness, whether one agreed with his methods or not, was something Musk respected. Trump was committed to revitalizing America's economy and infrastructure, and that was something Musk could get behind. In a world that often stifles new ideas, Trump's ability to throw out the rulebook and demand results was something that resonated deeply with Musk's own drive for progress. And yet, despite their differences, whether political, personal, or philosophical, there was a shared understanding between them, a sense that they both had something much bigger to accomplish than what the world expected of them. Their public exchanges were laced with mutual respect, and the media was quick to jump on every word. Headlines blared with sensationalism, but beneath the surface, these interactions were more than just media moments. They were a reflection of an unlikely friendship that was quietly growing. One instance that particularly stands out occurred in 2017 during a White House roundtable on advancing American manufacturing. The stage was set for another political photo op, but what transpired was far more significant. Trump invited Musk to speak at the event, a move that many didn't expect. Musk, true to form, didn't hold back. He passionately argued for the importance of sustainable energy, explaining how it wasn't just an environmental concern, it was an economic one. Clean energy, he suggested, could drive America's future and create an entire industry built on innovation and sustainability. Trump, always a man of bold ideas himself, found Musk's arguments both intriguing and inspiring. Musk wasn't offering the same old answers. His vision for the future was far more ambitious and forward-thinking than most. Trump, a man who often valued action over rhetoric, saw in Musk someone who didn't just talk about solving problems. He was actively coming up with solutions. There was a fire in Musk's words, a conviction that was impossible to ignore. And for Trump, that was a quality he valued deeply. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. Eleanor Roosevelt. Of course, they didn't always see eye to eye. Trump's approach was more grounded in the present, what could be achieved now, in the short term, while Musk's ideas were futuristic and often required long-term investments in the unknown. But the disagreements never seemed to erode the respect between them. Instead, those differences only strengthened their bond. They weren't just partners in politics or business. They were two men with distinct visions of the future, each determined to leave their mark on history. As their relationship continued to unfold in the public eye, it became clear that this unlikely duo had found common ground. Musk's out-of-the-box thinking, which some might call radical, was exactly what Trump admired. Musk wasn't afraid to challenge the established norms, to dream big, and to take risks. And in return, Trump appreciated Musk's willingness to step into the unknown, to embrace the future with all its uncertainties, and to never shy away from an opportunity. The world began to realize that their friendship wasn't just a political alliance. It was something far more powerful. It was about two men with different backgrounds, ideologies, and approaches, but with a shared commitment to shaping the future. They may not have always agreed on everything, but they respected each other's ambition and determination to create a better world. The media may have obsessed over their every interaction, but for Trump and Musk, it was about something far more profound. They weren't just playing for the headlines, they were playing for the future. A future that neither of them could shape alone, but that together they just might be able to transform in ways the world had never imagined. And so, As the world watched, this unlikely friendship continued to unfold in ways that would surprise everyone. It wasn't about politics or business anymore. It was about something bigger, something bold, and something that had the potential to change everything. Part 3. The moments of conflict. But as with any relationship, especially one involving two larger-than-life personalities, there were inevitable moments of tension. The media, always eager to report on the next controversy, found plenty to work with. Donald Trump's policies often clashed with Elon Musk's deep commitment to the environment. Musk, a champion of clean energy and sustainable innovation, found himself caught in a delicate balancing act, trying to align his business with an administration that prioritized fossil fuels, at least in the early stages. This was never going to be an easy relationship, not when the ideological rifts were so stark. Trump's America First stance and his often aggressive energy policies felt like a direct contradiction to everything Musk stood for. The public clashes started to get louder. In 2017, Musk faced severe pressure from environmentalists and his own supporters who criticized him for working with an administration that, in their eyes, was undermining efforts to combat climate change. He was stuck in the crossfire. On one hand, he had the opportunity to influence key decisions from the inside, to possibly steer the course of the Trump administration's policies in a direction that was more favorable to clean energy. On the other hand, his critics demanded that he walk away. How could he continue to align himself with someone whose policies contradicted his own deep beliefs? It wasn't an easy decision. Musk had to weigh the potential for change against the backlash he was facing. And there was pressure, immense pressure, from his own supporters who felt betrayed by his involvement with Trump. Musk wasn't just a businessman. He was a symbol of progress, of the future. His name had become synonymous with sustainable innovation, and his followers expected him to lead by example, to reject anything that threatened the very principles he had spent his career advocating for. Despite the immense pressure, Musk made a calculated move. Rather than severing ties with Trump completely, which would have created an even bigger political firestorm, Musk chose a different path. He resigned from a couple of key advisory boards in protest, sending a clear message that he didn't agree with some of the administration's policies. It was a bold decision, a moment where Musk stood up for his values. However, he didn't completely walk away from the relationship. He didn't cut off communication with Trump, and that was key. Musk realized that his influence was stronger if he stayed in the conversation, even if he didn't agree with everything Trump stood for. Instead of abandoning the possibility of change, Musk doubled down on what he could control. He threw himself even further into his own projects, making sure that Tesla and SpaceX didn't just survive, but thrived. His focus shifted. It wasn't about the politics anymore. It was about innovation. Musk knew that the future he was working toward was a sustainable one, regardless of the political climate he had to navigate. His actions spoke louder than any words or political endorsements ever could. Musk was determined to drive progress, no matter the obstacles. It is not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change. Charles Darwin. The conflict didn't break their bond, it tested it. In moments like these, the true character of both men shone through. The world waited for one of them to back down, expecting one of these powerful personalities to retreat. But neither Trump nor Musk was the type to give up easily. They didn't back down. Instead, they chose to navigate their differences with resilience and perseverance. Musk didn't cave to the pressure, but he also didn't alienate himself from Trump entirely. His decision to stay engaged with the administration was one of the first real signs that their relationship was more complicated than the media portrayed. It wasn't a simple friendship. It was a partnership built on mutual respect for each other's vision, even when their ideologies didn't align perfectly. The world watched, expecting fireworks, but what they saw instead was two leaders finding common ground despite their differences. The media painted the moment as a turning point, but in reality, it was just another chapter in their evolving relationship. Both men, with all their complexities and contradictions, found ways to stay connected even when the odds seemed stacked against them. It wasn't about agreeing on everything. It was about respecting each other's drive to create something bigger than themselves. Trump's passion for making America great again and Musk's commitment to sustainable innovation might have appeared worlds apart, but they were both driven by a single force, an unrelenting desire to make the world a better place on their own terms. This wasn't just about business or politics. It was about a shared commitment to breaking the mold, to challenging the status quo. And even the moments of conflict, this underlying force kept their bond intact. They knew that both of them were in the game for the long haul, and the obstacles they faced were just stepping stones to something greater. The world had expected one of them to fall, but in the end, they both stood tall. In moments of tension, they showed that true strength isn't about always agreeing. It's about pushing forward in the face of adversity, standing firm in your values, and never losing sight of the bigger picture. The world continued to watch closely, waiting for the next move. Would their differences tear them apart? Or would they continue to build something greater together? Part 4. The shared vision of the future. As the years passed, the nature of Donald Trump and Elon Musk's relationship began to evolve. What started as an unlikely partnership rooted in business, politics, and even ideological differences gradually transformed into something deeper, an understanding that transcended the noise of the political and media landscape. Over time, both men began to realize that they were not so different after all. Beneath their contrasting public personas, there was a common thread, a shared vision of shaping the future through innovation, technology, and sheer willpower. For Trump, Musk wasn't just a billionaire innovator or an eccentric entrepreneur. No, Musk had become something far more valuable to the former president. He was an ally, someone who had the potential to help drive America's future forward in ways that many traditional industries couldn't. Trump, whose legacy was heavily tied to the reinvigoration of American manufacturing and job creation, saw Musk's ventures as part of the key to America's next leap. Space exploration, artificial intelligence, and sustainable energy. These are the industries of the future. And Musk was at the forefront of them all. Trump, a man known for his unorthodox and often controversial approach to leadership, found in Musk a kindred spirit. Both men, in their own right, were disruptors. They weren't afraid to challenge the status quo, to tear down established systems and build something new from the ground up. Trump's administration had shaken things up in Washington, upending years of political norms, and Musk's work had done the same in Silicon Valley and beyond, revolutionizing everything from electric cars to space travel. While their methods were different, the underlying goal was remarkably similar: to make the world a better, more advanced place. For Musk, the relationship with Trump represented an opportunity. While others saw the president's rhetoric and policies as divisive, Musk viewed Trump as someone who had the power to move mountains, literally and figuratively. As a businessman, Trump had built an empire out of unorthodox thinking and bold moves, and Musk saw this as an opportunity to challenge the status quo in ways that most leaders wouldn't dare. It wasn't just about creating products. It was about disrupting industries on a global scale. Musk understood that in Trump's presidency, there was a chance to push boundaries, to experiment with ideas that had the potential to redefine how we lived, worked, and interacted with the world. The future was not something that could be predicted or expected. It was something that had to be created. And Musk, with his audacious ideas, saw this as the perfect moment to take risks, something Trump, too, had always been willing to do. Together, they shared the belief that the traditional ways of doing things were outdated and that the key to success lay in challenging the limits of what was possible. Musk's ventures, Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink, were changing the world. But Trump, in his own way, had the potential to reshape the political landscape and lay the foundation for these advancements to thrive. Then came 2020, a year that no one could have predicted. The COVID-19 pandemic swept across the world, sending economies into a tailspin and forcing countries to confront an existential crisis. It was a year of uncertainty, fear, and unprecedented challenges. Yet, in the midst of the chaos, Trump and Musk found themselves united in a new fight. How could they rebuild and reshape the world after the pandemic? The challenges were immense. Millions of people were out of work, businesses were shuttering, and the future seemed more uncertain than ever before. But in this moment of crisis, Trump and Musk saw an opportunity to act, not just for their own success, but for the success of the nation and the world. The pandemic had changed everything, but it had also created a unique moment in history where bold action was needed more than ever. Trump, with his business-first mindset, pushed for immediate economic relief and policies aimed at reopening the country. Musk, whose companies were involved in crucial industries like electric vehicles, space exploration, and even medical technology, understood that the future wouldn't just be about returning to normal. It would be about reinventing the way society functioned. The pandemic had exposed flaws in the system, and now was the time to fix them. Together, they could tackle the immense challenges ahead. Their partnership, which had once seemed unlikely, now became a beacon of hope for the future. The world watched as these two powerful figures, each with their own distinctive approach, found common ground in their shared vision. They weren't just talking about the future. They were actively working to build it, even amidst a global crisis. And it wasn't just about technology or politics. It was about something bigger, the possibility of a new world emerging from the ashes of the old one. Alone we can do so little. Together we can do so much. Helen Keller. There were no easy answers, and the road ahead was far from smooth. But the fact that two of the most influential figures in the world were aligned on a shared vision spoke volumes. Musk was more than just a businessman to Trump now. He was a partner in reshaping America's future. And Trump, in turn, had become an unlikely ally for Musk, someone who could help break through the barriers of bureaucracy that often stifle progress. Their bond, which had initially been forged in the heat of business and politics, had now become a symbol of something greater. It was a symbol of how unlikely allies, despite their differences, could work together to tackle the world's greatest challenges. This wasn't just about their individual legacies. It was about the future they were building together. In a world that often pitted people against each other, Trump and Musk showed that collaboration, even between the most unlikely of partners, could lead to powerful results. Their shared vision wasn't just about making America great again or making Mars a second home for humanity. It was about something bigger, creating a world where innovation, progress, and resilience could overcome even the toughest of challenges. And as the pandemic raged on, their vision continued to grow. Together, they were proving that even in the darkest of times, there is always room for hope and transformation. Part 5. The Legacy of Friendship. As we look back on the extraordinary friendship between Donald Trump and Elon Musk, it's clear that their connection was never about conventional alliances, business deals, or political power plays. What truly defined their relationship was something far more profound. These were two individuals, each with his own vision and determination, who recognized the power of change and understood the weight of their influence on the world. They didn't always see eye to eye. They didn't always agree on the path forward. Their conversations, often marked by passionate debates and differing viewpoints, were as much a collision of ideas as a meeting of minds. Yet, despite their differences, they shared something essential: a vision for the future. They understood that the world was at a crossroads and that they had a unique opportunity to drive meaningful change. That understanding would eventually shape not just their relationship, but the course of history. It's easy to assume that when two larger-than-life personalities like Trump and Musk come together, the result will be nothing but smooth sailing and unified goals. But that wasn't the case. Their friendship was far from perfect. There were moments of tension, times when the weight of their contrasting ideologies threatened to pull them apart. Musk's commitment to clean energy and sustainable practices was often at odds with Trump's more traditional, business-first approach to politics. And Trump's brash, unapologetic style didn't always mesh with Musk's more introspective and methodical way of working. Yet, in the face of these differences, they never let go of the one thing that kept them together: their commitment to progress. Whether in the boardroom or on the world stage, their focus remained fixed on shaping the future, regardless of the obstacles or opposition they faced. They understood that in order to truly change the world, they would have to take risks, big ones, and challenge the status quo. Both men understood the weight of their influence, but neither of them was content to simply rest on their laurels. Musk, with his vision of sustainable energy, space exploration, and artificial intelligence, was changing the world in ways that few could have imagined. Trump, for all his controversies, was able to push through policies that shook up traditional systems and sparked national debates about America's future. Together, they made an undeniable impact, not just on the industries they represented, but on the very fabric of society itself. Over the years, their friendship evolved into something far beyond the confines of business or politics. It became a symbol of how collaboration between even the most unlikely of friends could lead to groundbreaking change. Despite their differences, Trump and Musk proved that when two people with a shared belief in progress come together, they can achieve things that would have once seemed impossible. They were no longer just businessmen or politicians. They were architects of a new world, one where progress reigned and the future was always in motion. The world is often skeptical of alliances between polar opposites. History shows us that the most unlikely of partnerships can sometimes lead to the most remarkable transformations. Trump and Musk's friendship was a living testament to this truth. They weren't always in harmony, but they always kept moving forward. And as they moved forward, they inspired others to do the same, to challenge the boundaries of what was thought to be possible and to keep pushing no matter the odds. As time goes on, their legacy will not be defined by the controversies that surrounded them, nor by the moments of conflict that punctuated their relationship. Instead, their legacy will be defined by their unyielding commitment to a shared vision of a better future. They taught the world that progress isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. It's about finding common ground in the pursuit of something greater than oneself, even if that journey is messy, complicated, and filled with challenges. Their friendship, in all its complexity and contradictions, is a reminder of the power of collaboration and the importance of embracing new ideas, even when they come from the most unexpected sources. And as we look to the future, it's clear that the impact of their partnership will continue to be felt for years to come, not just in the fields they revolutionized, but in the way we think about change and progress itself. In the end, the story of Donald Trump and Elon Musk isn't just a tale of two men from different worlds coming together. It's the story of how bold ideas, fueled by a shared desire to make the world better, can lead to truly transformational change. They didn't just reshape industries. They helped redefine what it means to dream big, to take risks, and to push beyond the limits of what we thought was possible. Their legacy is one of ambition, perseverance, and the belief that even the most unlikely of friendships can change the course of history. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.